The corruption effects. So, one thing that we weren't able to do in TRS was something along the lines of gear progression.
And not in OSOT, by the way. Just kind of point that out, that OSOT had no gear progression, and so that's why TRS rocks and better than OSOT, but, you know, okay.
Greatest of all time.
Greatest of all time.
So one of the things with TRS is adding in some form of gear progression, and that comes in the form of enchanting your gear with corruption. So I think we discussed earlier that you can enhance gear with T1, T1, T2, and T3 Dark Arcane. So. And you can use your existing gear, so it doesn't have to be. It's not like you have to grab a whole new set of gear.
Hold on now. Before, don't just jump into that. Because that was a whole thing. That ended up like being a thing, because that wasn't always the case. And then who was it? Somebody was just like, "Wait, hold on a second."
I think I pointed it out because it was like someone's got like a whole kitted out set of gear. Is like, oh, you mean I gotta start over? I gotta dump out my existing gear, all maxed out or all leveled up.
And it's funny because you said something to me about it. And you're like, look, this is awesome, but what if I got like this gear, and you saying that I gotta start from scratch and I gotta grind from scratch to get gear drops, and basically at this point you're not able to corrupt existing gear. And it was Richard who rightfully brought up this situation. There's a situation here, and we got to address this. And this situation is, listen, this makes more sense to allow players to corrupt gear, existing gear, so that they don't have to go through that whole grinding process of getting, especially if you got, because like if you're going to start off that grinding process, restart it, it's going to be like low level gear that you're going to be getting, and you got this whole kit that you've been working on this whole time, and it's just like, I gotta do this over again. So didn't mean to interrupt, but that was a good call. That was a good call.
Yeah, it was a good point. So so the way you would go about enhancing and corrupting your gear is through a special dark forge in the Realm of Shadows, where you'll be using those T1 to T3 Dark Arcane. And as you enhance and gain corruption level on your gear, you'll be able to deal more damage to shadow enemies and take less damage from them. So you hopefully you won't be taking as much damage with corrupted gear than without it.
So on the defense part of that kind of spectrum is that, man, this damage, I came in after a build, like we're doing these daily builds, and like man, I got like sweet damage on these corruption enemies. Like, holy getting one-shotted. What is happening here, dude? It's like, yeah, this feels really good until I die. What the
Until you got touched.
just got dodged.
Just don't get hit.
Just
it's easy, right? Don't get hit.
Just get good.
Don't get hit.
Yeah. You would think as a developer you could resolve your questions, all your problems with that statement, but no, you can resolve none of them. You cannot resolve any problems with this statement. So, yeah.
So as you also, along with increasing the corruption level on gear, it will actually have visual effects on your characters.
Yeah.
So the higher corruption level you have across all your pieces of equipped gear, the more visual effects that'll take place on your character.
Yeah. So T1 through T3 corruption. And what's really cool is it kind of follows the same kind of model as the normal gear forging, basically.
Yep.
And the effects that you get make your character look really devious. It's a super cool effect that has several levels of progression. The more corrupted you are, the more your character visually looks corrupted. And one thing we, again, trying to visualize what people will not be happy with, right? There's a whole lot of work that goes into figuring out what people, so this is super cool, but what do we do to kind of help prevent people from not being happy with those visual effects?
They have the option to toggle it on and off.
That's right.
So
that's right, because we know with somebody how somebody's character looks. It's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. What do you mean? I don't want her looking like this, man. What the spent like 3 hours on her.
I don't like this color. What do you mean?
So you guys will have the option if the corruption visual effect is not something that you guys are interested, it's not something you guys are into, you don't want your character looking evil like that, all you got to do is go inside the settings panel, disable it, and boom, it's gone. You still get your stat boosts. Everything is still as it should be, but you don't have to. You kind of witness those visual effects. What's up, Maiden Nation? This is your Maiden Commander speaking. Catch the second full episode of the Developer League of Maidens Q&A session this Friday right here on YouTube. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and we'll see you guys for the second episode of the Developer Q&A this Friday.